Well, folks, here we are again to talk about what is in this atrocious $1.9 trillion non-COVID bill. And today we're really focused on the blue state bailouts. Yes, folks, the blue state bailouts. So the good people of Iowa, God bless them, because you know what? This past year during COVID-19, they passed a status quo budget. A status quo budget, and our cash reserves are full. Why? Because our Republican governor, Kim Reynolds, and the Republican-led House and Senate in the state of Iowa has managed our finances very, very well. That's what every state should do. But instead, through this non-COVID package, we have the good people of Iowa being asked to support blue state bailouts. And you know who receives the most in these blue state bailouts? Wow, this is really odd, folks. I don't know how this happens. Chuck Schumer's state of New York and Nancy Pelosi's state of California. Unbelievable how that works, isn't it, folks? But what is atrocious about this is that we are punishing those states that manage their finances and have opened up their economies in a safe and responsible manner. And yet we're rewarding those states that have ratcheted down on their economies. They haven't opened up. They've killed small business jobs in their states. And those hard workers in our states that are managing our finances well are being punished. So think about that, folks, as you're asked to respond about the non-COVID package. This is what's in it. Bailouts for blue states and favors for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi.
Just to show you how bad this bill is, there's more money in this to bail out union pension funds than all the money combined for vaccine distribution and testing. It's so bad that there's more money for transit projects than there is money to transport and distribute the vaccines. This is so far afield, it does very little to touch the pandemic. That's what we should be about. That's certainly what Tennesseans expect, and they do not expect to be bailing out mismanaged states, and that's exactly what this is aimed to do. Thank you.
Well, this bill is not about coronavirus relief. This is a wish list of liberal spending. This is packed with pork. And yesterday we pointed out the tunnel of love, Pelosi's tunnel of love to Silicon Valley, and Schumer's bridge to Canada. As we pointed those out, those have now been removed from the bill. But those were small items compared to the amount of money that New York and California are going to get in this blue state bailout. Governors around the country are up in arms about this. My home state governor in Wyoming has joined 20 other Republican governors, and it is bipartisan because the Democrat governor of Kansas, Governor Kelly, has joined in this, saying, and it was in the today's USA Today, GOP governors called 21 GOP governors, and then you read it also, Governor Kelly, called Biden's relief bill biased. That's what it is. This is a biased piece of legislation. They got it right. They talk about how punishing it is to their states who didn't do a complete shutdown at the time of coronavirus. They made a decision to try to keep people working, keep people on the job, let people go about their lives instead of shutting down like New York and California did. So if you're trying to do a distribution formula to help states who have been hurt most by the virus, you might say, how many people were sick there? How many people lost their lives there? How has the virus itself impacted the health of the people? Not saying which states chose to shut it down, clamp down, with the wink and the nod from Joe Biden running for president, saying, keep it closed, I'll make sure you get paid off big. That's what this is. This is a payoff to his Democrat supporters in Illinois, in California, in New York, and he's asking people from all around the country who have done and acted responsibly during all of this for them to pay the bill.
Well, special thanks to Senator Ernst and also all of the great work that Senator Scott's done on this issue. being as a governor, and again, one of the people that truly is an expert in what we're talking about today. I get a lot of correspondence in the office. We all do, on a weekly and monthly basis. And right at the top of that list is major concerns regarding the COVID relief bill. And certainly that's a misnomer. There's very little in the bill that has anything to do with the economic damage from COVID or the health effects of COVID also. But what I'd like to do is, we've done such a great job about talking this. I thought that I would talk about some of the correspondence that I actually get from Arkansans. These aren't politicians. These aren't people that are up here telling the story. Pamela from Yellville. Pamela says, this budget will further harm economic growth by using my tax dollars to fund irresponsible governors. Scott from Springdale. Arkansans do not want to see our tax dollars funneled to these poorly managed states and cities. Paul from Van Buren. We do not need a bailout for poorly run cities or monies to fund anything not directly related to COVID relief. $1.9 trillion is way too big. I think that really sums it up. So they understand this isn't about COVID spending. This is about opportunistic spending. And the other thing that I'm greatly saddened about is that we talk a lot about unity. We talk a lot about bipartisanship. No Republicans, and I say this as the ranking member on the Ag Committee, no Republican has anything at all to do with bringing this bill forward. Thank you.
Well, this has been an emotional year for all of us. We've gone through something none of us have ever experienced before, a pandemic. People have died. People have gotten grievously ill. Many of them have recovered, but many more have been anxious as a result of losing their job or their livelihood, their way of life, been separated from their friends and families for a year or more. I know some haven't seen their parents or grandparents for a year because of fear of spreading the virus. That's why Congress has responded so dramatically over 5 different pieces of legislation over the last year. It's all been on a bipartisan basis. We spent roughly $4 trillion trying to deal with combating the virus, coming up with new treatments, and ultimately a vaccine, which is the key to putting this in the rearview mirror, but also helping to mitigate the economic losses and deal with the anxiety people are feeling about being able to put food on the table or pay their rent or pay their mortgage. So we've been through a lot of different emotions this last year. But I have to tell you what the Democrats are doing with this $1.9 trillion spending splurge makes me angry. And it should make everybody in the country angry. Because what is happening here is what Rahm Emanuel famously said, never let a crisis go to waste. And they want to, under the guise of trying to help people, they want to exploit people. They want to take money and use it on pet projects in their states that's unneeded. They want to divert money that, under the guise of being for COVID-19, to things that have nothing to do with either the public health or economic consequences of this virus. So that should make everybody in the country angry that people would think so little of them, would disrespect them so much that they would try to tell a lie about what this bill is about. This bill is not about COVID-19. It's a Trojan horse for a liberal wish list of other policies that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer know they can't get done any other way. It's disgraceful, and it should make all of us angry.
All right. We can answer any questions anybody has. Yes.
Excuse me. A few people here today co-sponsored Senator Scott's Justice Act last session. We've got the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act coming up. What is the appetite among Senate Republicans for police reform, and what in the bill that is set to come forward?
If you remember, it's pretty disgusting what happened last year, because Senator Scott, Tim Scott, proposed a bill. We supported, and the Democrats would not do anything. They would. He said, "Give us your amendments tell us how you want to improve it. No, they just voted against it. So the Democrats don't want to do justice reform. I know Republicans, we want to make sure that there's accountability, but we want to make sure people are treated with respect and dignity. I don't know if you guys want to add anything.
Can I ask a question of Senator Cornyn? President Biden has criticized the state